Lewis Koumas, you touched on it a second ago. Now, I love all these lads in various different ways. Um, but Lewis Koumas is probably the one that I'm most enthusiastic about, I think it's fair to say, based on what we've seen so far. 11 appearances, one goal, one assist. I will be heading down to see him after international break as well, which is going to be brilliant. But you said it there, Simeon. New manager at Stoke, bit of an underwhelming start, and it feels, forgive me, feels a little bit messy at the moment down there.
Yeah, we talked with Cade about the right move and getting the amount of minutes. We can talk with Lewis about picking the right club as well. Again, I speak to so many loanies to shamelessly plug another one, Louis Barry, who'll probably be familiar with you guys. I
Scored
spoke to him
against
and he
us.
was talking, yeah, the famous FA Cup game where
Yeah.
they had all their players missing because of COVID. Klopp loved him, I think,
Good
watching him.
play.
Yeah, little Jamie Vardy, I think he called him. Yeah, it was. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, to be honest, but who knows? But yeah, no, with Stoke again, it's just it can often be quite a basket casey kind of club. And as I said, I was speaking to Louis Barron. He said he went on some loan moves where it wasn't the right place for him. And it can. I'm not saying Stoke's the wrong fit for anyone, but it's one of those clubs that always seems to be in a minor state of crisis, moving on from manager to manager to manager. The new guys, Narcís Pelak has come in. I didn't know a huge amount about him. I'll admit that. Before he came in, they've been it wasn't the best side. They had that unbelievable result against Portsmouth where they absolutely blew them away. Lewis seems to still be in his plans and still starting for him, which is obviously brilliant for him because you never know when a new manager comes in what's going to happen. Obviously, the surname Koumas is going to, if you're a certain age and you watch a certain level of football at the right time, the name Koumas does bring a certain level of cult excitement within you of what he's going to produce. And he's a fun player to watch, Lewis, just like his dad. It's yeah, he's played a bit of everywhere. He's played a bit off the left, a bit up front, a bit off the right. He seems to be off the right so far under Pelak. Again, this is based off 2 or 3 games evidence, and it's hard to really fully judge what the long term plans are. But I mean, both his goals so far this season have seemed to come through that kind of channel of being in that sort of place at the right time. So yeah, it's one to keep an eye on. I don't know what Stokes level is this season still. Again, new manager, you just don't know. It can so easily go where they could championship at this point. As I've said, you could storm into the top six or be skirting around the bottom three, and I wouldn't be entirely surprised. Massive expert here, as I said, of the championship, what's going on. Part of the championship is just admitting you don't know what the hell's going to happen because that's part of the fun of it, isn't it? So, but yeah, he's just got to play and develop, and hopefully he will for his sake and for you know he will stay in that kind of that conversation, keep his place in that team, and Stoke will have a fairly normal season. What I will say about the new managers, he does seem to like he's one of the new breed of kind of coaches who does like his attacking, his possession,
Okay.
his pressing, that kind of thing. So that should all suit Lewis very well with obviously what's going on with Liverpool as well. It doesn't seem too dissimilar in terms of style, but again, it's based off a very, very small sample size. So it's better than if a manager had come in who was just looking to launch 80 yards over the top, because that does happen sometimes as well. But again, early days.
No, absolutely, yeah, but you're absolutely spot on because, yeah, when I initially seen it was Steven Schumacher, I think I'm right in saying the previous manager. When I
Hmm.
initially seen the change, my eyebrows immediately raised. I was like, oh, what does that mean for Lewis Koumas? Because you're right, if the style is completely different, or if he doesn't fancy him as a player, because I knew he took it in his stride, really, the start. I think he scored maybe on his debut or certainly one of his first few appearances. And okay, yeah, and I've got glowing reports from people I know down in Stoke and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So it all seems to be going swimmingly. And then all of a sudden the manager goes and you go, oh, is that going to scupper everything? But no, it's nice. It's positive to hear that maybe not. Owen Beck now, his fellow countryman, of course, and nephew of Ian Rush, which is always nice. At
I
Blackburn
didn't know that.
Rovers. Did you not? Yeah, nephew of Ian Rush,
Yeah.
yeah. I spoke to Rush about him literally quite recently. It was a nice chat. Blackburn Rovers currently eighth in the championship. Punching above the weight somewhat. What are their playoff chances like? John Eustace is boss there, I might think I'm right in
Hmm.
saying.
They started very well. They've lost their last couple, so they've dropped off a bit. Again, try very hard not to do knee jerk reactions, even though that's all I ever seem to do. It's part of the job. When you're reacting week to week, it's part of the job now, isn't it? I mean, for example, losing to Nottingham Forest and you go from promotion, oh, not promotion, sorry, I'm in championship mode, go from title contenders to it's all disaster. Now you're back to being
Exactly.
title contenders again, isn't it? So, Owen Becker just got in I mean, he played his 3 games. He came in when Blackburn were unbeaten and they've not they've lost their last couple since he's been out of the team. So I guess that bodes well for him. I imagine he won't have a problem getting his place back in the team once he's back from suspension. Obviously was involved in the incident, the bite, which if anyone hasn't watched, you can see that on just Google Osmaic Preston Blackburn bite and you'll see it. He looked a bit shaken up from that. And one of the I interviewed one of his Blackburn teammates, Andy Vyman, a couple of days after, and he says he was a bit rattled by it, which you would be if someone had just sunk your teeth into his back. That's not a normal situation to experience in almost any walk of life. He'll. I mean, for me, this is kind of the right move for someone like Owen, because again, he's 22 now. He needs to be playing football every week, and he will be at Blackburn because they give young players a chance. They trust young players, and also they're at that level where it's not like there's huge competition or that for his place, that kind of thing. He will come back in top six, I think. Again, they could go and win their next four, and I might just be basing off what's happened in the last couple of games. Blackburn only avoided relegation on the last day of the season last season, and they had the top scorer in the Championship in Sammy Smodix, who literally saved them, really. Anything that's kind of just a solid mid-table, I think, is a very good season for Blackburn. Again, for Beck, all he has to do is play. That doesn't really matter to him. He doesn't need to be pushing for the playoffs or promotion. He just needs to get 90 minutes in his legs week after week. And I think he will do that, Blackburn, and that's the most positive thing for him. He just needs to stop kicking people and getting bitten. Although the red card was a little bit unlucky, and it was in a Preston Blackburn, which is one of the more tempestuous games you could experience in your life if you have the fortune to be at it.
Yeah, particularly fiery, that one. Owen Beck off the back of a decent loan spell up in Dundee last year as well, which he got some good reports back from, I think it's fair to say. And I know Dundee, he actually came back to Liverpool for like 2 weeks, then went back to finish the season up there. They were desperate to get him back up the road, and he did. Another thing Liverpool have done quite successfully in recent years is build up relationships with football clubs, and Blackburn is one of them. Obviously, Harvey Elliott spent some time there, Tyler Morton likewise, and clearly they feel like Blackburn is a good place to sort of look after and develop the youngsters. And I put Owen Beck in that category, and hopefully, as you say, he can put this red card debacle situation behind him and kick on from there. It was interesting. I noticed the other day he played for the 21s at Blackburn whilst he's serving that suspension. So still getting his football in where he can. We'll move on.